I'll present. I just want you to tell whether the screen is visible. Yeah, all good?
Yes, ma'am, fine.
Can I start? Yeah. Okay, so today's topic is student psychology and classroom engagement. So we all know that we have been teaching from a lot many years, or might we have started into teaching as a profession. But one thing is pretty common, that people have their own data and they go to deliver whatever they have to deliver rather than understanding the right kind of audience and what the audience actually mean. So I was also doing one of those from NITTT, and there the first question was, what is the most important problem, or which is the most challenging problem that we as faculty members and teachers are facing in the classroom? So the most important problem or the most challenging problem is attendance. And again, when there is no attendance, and if there is attendance, then also the classroom engagement is pretty poor. The students, they sit in the class for 45 minutes or 1.5 hours. They sit, they listen passively, and they leave. So today's session is extremely important because it talks about student psychology and how to gain effective classroom engagement by understanding the student's psychology. So what we are doing is, we are turning the table. We are going and understanding the side of the student in order to have effective teaching in the classroom. So for this, I have laid down various agendas that we will be talking about: application of psychology in classroom settings, focusing on classroom behavior and management, importance of establishing positive relationship with our students or the audience, and classroom engagement thereon. So let me take 2 minutes in wrapping up about what we will be doing in today's session. And this, the activity that I'm doing today, or the sentences that I'm going to be talking today, they are also known as outcome based philosophy. So these are the things that should be known to you at the end of the session. What are they? The first one is, you should be able to apply psychology in classroom setting. You as the audience of this particular session should be able to do classroom, to manage classroom behavior and establish positive relationship with the audience and the students, and classroom engagement can be effectively attained. So after this seminar is done, it is a action based session which is not complete until and unless we take away a lot of things from it and we apply it to the bunch of students. Until and unless application is done, it will be extremely difficult for us to say that the session is successful. On that note, let us understand what everything is all about when we talk about effective teaching measures. See, here I have put in a frame wherein it is written, make efforts to know your audience. Hi there, I am here. Who is saying this? Hi there, I am here. The students are saying that, hi, I am here. Look at me, understand what I need, and then whatever you have prepared, customize it according to what I need. Might be I am knowing it at advanced level, might be I am not knowing it at the basic level, might be we have a class wherein there is a mix of people. Some of them are good in basics, some of them are of advanced level. So how can we make class interesting for all kinds of mixed audience so that no one feels left out? And one thing that you will also believe with me, that the audience, the students who are basic learners, who know the basic things, if we will start with the basics there, they are going to get bored. If we cater towards advanced students, we start with the advanced level of pedagogy, then what will happen? The basic students will be afraid of the subject and the classroom engagement will be extremely poor. So curating a session wherein the basics are being taught in collaboration with all the students and taking it to a higher level of cognition for advanced learners. That is something that is required. So talking about this presentation, it outlines the guiding principles about how can we make effective teaching practices. We need to have a safe environment in the classroom wherein the students are not afraid to say whatever is there in their mind, or they are not bored enough to sit passively and become the passive learners in the journey of a classroom for 1.5 hours. Apparently making it enjoyable, adopting a growth mindset where students get out of their chair with the feeling that they have really got something. They were high because of what they have learned. There was adrenal rush because they have learned something new today, and it also fosters to innovation. So, applying student psychology. Now, there are various methods that have been adopted by various psychologists while teaching. Various experiments have been done, and it is through the research papers that I have got this data. And again, I utilize this data in my classroom too. So, one is a marble system, second is a ticket system, and third is using feedback. Let us talk about marble system. See, when as corporate trainers, we go out to teach some industry people about a management development program, or we are teaching the higher education students or undergrad students, or the audience can be even K-12 students. What we need to understand is that the child within us is alive, and the child within us thrives to go back to their basics. So what does the using marble system means? It means that if we have a class of 50 to 60 participants, what we need to do is we need to create a group of 10 participants. So in case of 60 students, there will be six groups there, and there will be six empty glass jars kept on the faculty's table, the facilitator's table. Whenever any member of a group, for example, member X of group 5 is asking a question, you take few marbles and you fill in that group that has been tagged in the jar. So you have various jars, and there is a label on the jar: group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4 till group number 6. And you have 10 students. If a student is asking any question, what you need to do is you need to take a handful of marbles and fill in their group. So, and you can say that it is a competition. When whichever bottle is full, whichever jar is full, the students are going to get a prize because they have done phenomenally well. So why are we doing this? See, as humans, we are healthy competitors. We want healthy competition. And until and unless anything is converted into a competition wherein the students can be enthusiastic about it, they become passive learners. Because one thing that is extremely expensive in today's time is the attention of the students. As the attention span has dropped down to 0.09 seconds, which was 30 seconds earlier. So the most difficult thing that we are doing is we are talking, and we are asking a person who is sitting on the other side of the table to listen to us. And for that, we need attention. But how can we get attention? One of the methods is by using a marble system. It encourages healthy discussion in the classroom. The kids talk, and when the students are talking, they don't even talk. And once you fill in the jar with the handful of marbles, they feel that they have done something for the team itself, and they have contributed in winning of that particular team. So they feel associated to that group. And as the marbles keep on increasing, the students try to engage themselves in a conversation. So 45 minutes in a classroom can be done for only one-way teaching or interactive teaching, and 15-20 minutes can be kept wherein a marble system can be used so that the students can be made pretty interactive. The second system is using the ticket system. So what is ticket system? See, there are ways through which the students can ask question, And if we talk plainly about students asking questions or interacting in the classroom, it becomes extremely difficult. So what we want from our students is that they need to interact with us. There can be different methods of interacting. One of the methods can be creating tickets and resolving them. If any student has any kind of problem or difficulty in understanding about what you have talked in a span of 1 hour, 1.5 hour, how do we expect students to interact with us? Now it is our way of teaching, whether we are engaging themselves during the show itself or after the session is finished, then we are asking them to take down some questions. So this methods work well when a session is complete and we have given 15-20 minutes just for discussion or interaction. So while a person is taking a session, they raise tickets. It can be done through Google form, it can be done through small papers, A4 cut into 15-20 small chits, wherein they can write down their questions. So they are creating their ticket. All the tickets are collected by some of the students. They are kept on the faculty's table. The faculty read down the tickets and they resolve the tickets one by one. And anybody who has asked the most relevant question or a question that has really impacted in effective teaching, they get something as a token. For a pen can be given, a chocolate can be given. So there are various ways through which, there are hygiene factors through which the students can be motivated in order to interact in the classroom. Other than that, using a lot of feedback also helps. When we talk about feedback, see, collection of feedback and analysis of feedback for continuous improvement becomes extremely important for all of us. We cannot improve until and unless we know where we are, what wrong we have done. So again, feedback in schools we have this class reflection. After every class, the students have to write in 5 lines how they emotionally felt after attending this class, whether they were enthusiastic. So depending on whether the students have enough vocabulary, or you can give them the check boxes wherein they can just check it. And you can also give one open-ended question: what can be done to improve the session further? Might be they can say that the number of words the teacher is speaking per minute are pretty high or pretty low, or the PPTs can be made more engaging, or a lot of theory concepts have been used, a little practical or real life examples can be used. So taking feedback and incorporating that feedback in the next session, it gives a real life example to the students that whatever I have said, they have incorporated it and they are ready to use whatever I have said in the next session. And again, thanking a student who has given positive feedback and also given a line about how you can continuously improve. You can also thank that student in the class so that other students feel encouraged and they do not feel that they are being targeted once they are giving the feedback. So the three methods are using marble system, you can use ticket system, you can use feedback. Now, other than using marble and ticket system, there are many methods that are available. If you will search for it, you are definitely going to get it. But using feedback is something that is pretty permanent in nature. And I think that all of us should try to use feedback. It can be a oral feedback wherein we can encourage the students to raise their hands and tell where they felt comfortable, in which part they were not comfortable, what can we do to help them to become more comfortable or to interact more. So this is one of the examples of applying student psychology in effective teaching. Now, the most important thing that we can do for our students is breaking the ice. Breaking the ice is our mind, our brain responds differently when somebody talks to us by calling our first name. If somebody says, "Ma'am," so okay, you will react, but you will react in like 30 seconds, 20 seconds. When somebody says Radhika ma'am, so the reaction is pretty fast because somebody has called my name. So knowing each other, addressing the students from their name, I know it takes a lot of efforts to learn the name of students in a class of 60. But again, how can we know each other or know our students? By asking them, the first few sessions can be utilized asking them about their hobby, about their most innovative movement, their favorite food, their favorite city. We can associate their names with whatever answers they gave. And how quickly do we want to get into the ice breaking thing? It helps us to connect with the students extremely well. So to enhance student engagement through understanding, see, when we talk to them and when they talk back at us, we understand what are their motivations. We understand that these are the learning techniques that might be apt for this particular student. I'll give you an example. I was teaching managerial communication in one of my classes, and I asked one question to one of the students. The student was pretty chatty and wanted to answer, but I saw that the student was not pretty comfortable with the language, or communication command was missing. So post lecture I called him outside the lecture room and I told him that we have a lecture lab, and I want you and I to sit in the language lab for 10 minutes every day, and we are going to listen to whatever the language lab software is saying. So after 15 days, 20 days, what was observed was that framing of sentence was pretty easy for that particular student, and the student is still thankful because understanding the motivation and incorporating. We have language lab, all the colleges, for UG colleges also it is compulsory to have a language lab. But how do we know which students need that language lab activity? So understanding the students, understanding where they are coming from. Different students have different motivations. Some of them are pretty good in becoming a leader, others are pretty shy. Some of them come because their parents push them outside the home, that go, you have to study something. Some of them come because of attendance. So if students are not coming because they are curious for our subject, that means engaging them effectively is pretty difficult for us, and we are unable to do that particular chunk. So we are discussing the significance of connecting the content to students life, providing them with control over their learning. And everybody loves to have control. So if the students know that they have the control over their learning, and the control can be used in aligning with contents and assessments, this is what is known as, again, outcome based pedagogy, and it helps in enhanced teaching learning uh, method. Now, let me take a few more minutes to explain. When we talk about giving control to students or aligning content and assessment with course outcome, what does it signify? What does it mean? See, as faculty members, what needs to be done is, if we are starting a session from 1st of July, by 15th of June or 20th of June, I know that I'm talking about an ideal situation. Teachers are no more teachers. There is a lot of admin work that is also there. But again, our lesson plan should be prepared by 15th of June. And what does lesson plan encompasses of? The dates when the session is planned, the unit, and in that particular unit, what are we going to teach? What are the various pedagogical methods that we are going to teach? For example, we can have case study discussion, we can have a research paper, we can send the students to the field for understanding new things. We can even teach from a book or a PPT that we have downloaded. So these are various methods, and at least if 40% of the course is practically aligned with case studies, real time scenario reading, current affairs, article from newspapers, and if we write it down in our lesson plan, and the lesson plan has been sent to a student by 20th of June, and we have asked them to read the lesson plan and suggest if there are any changes. So what we have done here, we are fully prepared with all our arsenal, with all our tools, and now we have given those tools to our student, and we are telling them so that they will be curious and enthusiastic before coming to the lecture. That session will be the opening of session 1 will be done with a case study. The session 2 will be taken on the basis of this newspaper article. Third session, again, it will be book reading from page number 15 to 20. And again, a video will be shown for session number 4. So firstly, because we are well equipped with what we are going to do, the students also have confidence that they are not coming unprepared to class and they are going to come and deliver at their best. Now, one more important thing, there are formative and summative assessments that we also generally call them internals or externals. If we have to choose four criteria, three criteria for our formative assessments, again, I'm talking about internals. Why not include attendance and class participation and as one of the criterias where the students are pushed to speak, to talk to the faculty, to interact with them during the lecture period, so that they make sure that they are getting marks for their attendance and class participation. Other than having a stick of marks, what all things can be done? One of the internals can be pretty innovative in nature. For example, in entrepreneurship, if somebody is teaching entrepreneurship management, they can ask the students to prepare business proposals, or new idea generation contest can be done. So marks can be provided on that basis. It is linked to marks, and again, it is helping you to teach the students with a lot of games or presentation or a slide competition, so that the students can give their best and everything is aligned. If I'm talking about lesson plan, a course is divided into various units. The units are again combined together to prepare the course outcome. Every course outcome, depending on the number of modules, can have 4 to 6 course outcomes. Now, how the course outcome statement starts? It starts with that the students, by the end of the course, the students will be able to give direct feedback, and the impact of the feedback will be great. The second course outcome for any course can be that the students will be able to understand a basics of this particular subject. Now, for teaching the basics, what we are going to do? For teaching the basics, we are going to ask them to remember the concepts from the book, and again, the concepts that they are going to remember will be taught at understanding level. So what we are doing, we are simply doing one thing, that is creating a lesson plan, charting a lesson plan with different innovative teaching pedagogies. And again, the assessments are also pretty innovative in nature. Or not all assessments can be innovative, but out of 4 or 3 assessments, whatever you take, one assessment can be extremely innovative, and uh, it can be given prior to the starting of the course, so that the students understand that what they are getting their minds into. If I talk about some of the Ivy League colleges, now entrepreneurship management sessions are taken by 2 professors, and the students have a choice that they can select whichever whoever professor they want, and they can sit in their classes. Now imagine the kind of pressure. Still in Indian scenario, those things do not persist, but again, if we have that kind of scenario, what all things will we do in order to make the student choose us over the other professor who is teaching the same subject, is something that we need to infuse with liveliness, so that the students can understand, the students can effectively take lessons from whatever we are trying to give. Now, these are the diagram that is shown here. These are various degrees of attention that the students have. So, degree of attention starts with optimism. Now, what we have done, we have already circulated the lesson plan to our students. Now, the students are optimistic about our course. They are positive about our course, that this is a good course. There will be a case study of Amul. There will be a case study about what the tariffs and Trump is doing in America. How is it impacting the Indian society? Okay, where the share market is going? Okay, we'll be discussing one about a course from NISM. So when we do all these things, there is a level of optimism, positivity in the student about the subject. The optimism, the positivity will create interest for the student to come and attend your lectures. Now, this all is happening before even the lectures have started, because you have already shared the lesson plan with the students. The second thing is, now the student, when the student is coming to the class, the student is curious that you have written so many fancy words in your lesson plan. Now, how are you going to make up to it? What all things are you going to do in that? So the student is curious. The curiosity will turn into, if we are doing the right job as teachers, if we are able to effectively teach them, if we are able to effectively do justice to whatever we have written, the curiosity turns into passion. The passion turns into enthusiasm. I'll do something extra for this course. Okay, field work is required. Let me understand more in helping, like what, how the field work is given, what are the rubrics of field work, whether this field work will be done in the weekdays or it is aligned for weekend, whether it is tied up to any assessments. After this, because they have too much enthusiasm in them, it will end up in making efforts from the side of students that are currently missing when we are going to the classroom. So degree of attention, again, we have already shared the lesson plan with them, so they are pretty optimistic about their course. Optimism will create interest. Interest will create curiosity about what will she be doing in the classroom, how she will be delivering. It will create a passion in the classroom, and again, enthusiasm that will result in the efforts that will be shown by the student. When we are going to the classroom, it is not about how much we know and how much we are able to deliver. It has nothing to do with it. What is required is how much the students have attained from whatever we prepared in today's session becomes extremely important. Whether it was some theoretical knowledge that they could have got from any book sitting in their periphery of their house, or they have got some practical outhouse scenario, they have developed their critical skills. These are the questions that we need to ask from ourselves before entering into the classroom or before even taking a course. I know that it becomes extremely difficult, but again, until and unless we try. Now, I was reading one of the books by, so the book was called The Nations We Build. Now, what was the basic reason why some countries do better and some do not? The basic underlying reason for that was that we do not have good Ivy League universities. So, what do we mean by Ivy League universities? It is all about the faculty members and the teachers who are teaching in the classroom. If we prepare ourselves well, if we have a lot of tools, if we keep on sharpening our tools so that they can be used in best of the manner once the classes start, again, the nation that we are building will definitely get a lot of help, because we will be creating students who will be the future leaders. Now, there is a four C's diagram that we always talk about while we are understanding the effective teaching management in the classroom and classroom engagement too. So, one of the C's is collaboration. When we talk about collaboration, the students learn better when they learn in a group rather than having one-to-one interaction. If we create small groups, it becomes, see, there are weak learners in the classroom, there are bright learners in the classroom. The bright learners, they help the weak learners do not feel ashamed by asking. When they are asking to the bright learner, might be they feel a little reluctant or hesitant to ask their faculty member. Might be they are thinking that the concept that I will be asking again, might be it is not of that level, what will other students think. But when they are in a collaborative scenario, it becomes easy for them to take whatever best they can gain out of it. Again, keeping feedback and at the end, at the center of classroom discussions. So we know that we are doing a pretty good job, but that should not stop us from taking a lot of feedback from our students. When we talk about taking feedbacks, it can be structured in nature, it can be unstructured in nature, but only taking feedback is not going to help either of us. Feedback should be taken, analysis should be done, and in the next session the changes that we want from the students want some changes in us. If we are able to bring that change in us in the next session, so it simply means that we have done a pretty good job. Now we know that feedback becomes a pretty difficult word for all of us. We might feel that we are doing a great job, why feedback is required. But understand one thing, if the students are not giving constructive feedback, we can even tell how to give and take constructive feedback. We can give them few examples that this is what I expect from you. Now you cannot give a feedback wherein the students of low maturity can say the session was of 1.5 hours. I got tired after 30 minutes. The session should be of 30 minutes. So this is not something that we can do. Again, how to give feedback is something that the students can be trained for. And trust me, the students are smart enough. If we train them on something with optimism and right mindset, they are definitely going to be with us on the same page. Second is communication. What is extremely important in a classroom scenario is lot of communication. Now, communication can be done in the classroom, the oral communication. It can be done digitally too. Now, there are polls on WhatsApp, there are polls wherein you can use quizzes.com, mentimeter.com, and you can give them 5 case studies and you can ask them which case study do you want to learn. I'm going to teach you one case study. I have prepared 5 case study. Which of the one are you interested in? Or you can name a chapter and you can write down this chapter can be taught with theoretical concepts. It can be taught with case study, and it can be taught with a video that will be shown in the class. Now, how comfortable you are and in which thing are you comfortable with? When we have a say in something, we tend to agree to that thing more, or we tend to follow that thing more because we have been a part of decision making process. So the souls have no age. The students can also be considered as grown ups, and they can be asked that how do you want me to teach you this? And again, if they say that go to Make in India campaign and teach entrepreneurship management through Make in India campaign website, it is a win-win situation because it helps a faculty and the student to learn at the same time. After this, what happens? We are creating something. Now, as facilitators, our job is not to teach them a particular concept. Our job is much, much, much bigger than that. What is our job? Our job is to teach them how to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Whatever changes are coming in the market today, whatever changes are coming with AI, nobody knows whose job will be safe, and whatever we are teaching, whether it will be applicable in the coming time or not. For example, I completed my PhD and there was a lot of paraphrasing that needed to be done way back in 2018. But again, if I see today, there is paraphrasing.com, there is summary.com, there are so many AI tools wherein you put the paragraph and you push the paraphrase button. So, what we need to learn is we cannot stick to the old methods that we have learned while we were doing our thesis. What needs to be learned by the student is how to learn, how to unlearn, and how to relearn the new things. So it is again creation, it is a higher level cognition. So creativity has finally clawed its ways at the top of Bloom's taxonomy, and we are going to talk about the Bloom's taxonomy in the coming slides. The apex of high order thinking now culminates in creating something new via self expression, having a thought process of your own. Articulation of thought process is something, rather than going towards the rote learning wherein we used to ratify something, go vomit, write an exam, come back and forget what has been done. It is much of applied nature. It is much of applied in nature. Until and unless they know how to apply it in real life scenario through some simulation exercises, the whole exercise is going for a waste. Talking about the last one, the last C, that is critical thinking. So critical thinking, it is a ability wherein you get all the data. Now, what are you going to do with that data? If you are using a filter, what filters you will be putting in that data? How are you going to interpret that data, analyze that data, evaluate it, and how is it going to use you to find your own solutions become an important part of critical thinking. So the feedback that I was asking you to take from the students, you can give the feedback to the students and ask them to analyze the feedback. Now, if you have given a question on a Likert scale of 5 degree from strongly disagree to strongly agree, number it strongly agree 5 and strongly disagree 1. Ask them to interpret the data, take average, and tell whether how am I performing. So until and unless the students have creative thinking backed up by critical thinking, it will become extremely difficult for them to survive in the coming world or going for higher education. So these are important C's. Before we plan any lecture, we think on our own whether this particular module can be taught with collaboration, or it is a module that will be taught, I'll be talking one to many communication will be done. Secondly, how am I going to communicate this particular course with the students, whether it will be done through a case study or it can be done through a video that can be shown, a short movie clip can be shown, whether whatever I am teaching, is it helping the students to create something. Now creation doesn't mean that they are going to create a model, but again, if they are able to solve a case study also, then it can be composed as creating the solutions of their own. Now critical thinking is extremely important for creating something. So if we are talking about the higher level cognition, they are definitely be using critical thinking in order to suffice the purpose of creation that we have been talking about. Now, this is a model. It is based on Amy Berry's research on teachers' perception of engagement. Now, it is not a very old model. It is from 2020. Now, what this model talks about. Now, how is the classroom when we enter? The classroom it is active, then it is passive, then it is again active. How is it active? First, the students are sitting on the chairs haywire. They are not prepared to listen. They are distracting, they are talking to each others. The teacher goes, they put on the projector, they put on the slides. Now this is how a class starts. Then they start avoiding. When we say good morning, they start avoiding that. Ma'am, can I go to washroom? I was sitting here for a long period of time. Can I drink some water? Can I just stroll outside and come back? So this is avoiding. Now they are withdrawing. Now they come and they say, oh my god, there had been 4 lectures since morning. So they are withdrawing themselves. They are being pretty distracted. They are physically separating them from the group. Now a time comes wherein we start talking about who polled for case study. I want all the students who polled for case study to come and stand on the right side of the stage. The ones who polled for a video or a short movie can come and stand on the left side of the stage. So now what we have done, we have uh, we have encouraged them to participate, to do some work, to give us their attention. Then they start talking about how many minutes of video will you be showing. Now this is, they are investing their time in us. They are asking questions, they are valuing whatever they will be learning. Then we set goals that I'm going to show you the movie in first 5 minutes, and then I'm going to ask you 5 questions. These are the questions that I will be asking. If I give them the questions beforehand, what they will be doing, they will watch the movie trying to find the answers from that movie because they have the questions there. So this is what I am doing for driving my students in order to get into the continuum of engagement. Then seeking feedback. Is this enough? Do you want it to be followed by a case study telling them whether we have enough time to take one more activity in the classroom? And then there is self assessment. How do you assess yourself, which can be done through a class reflection form. So what we have done here is we have entered into two stages. One is the stage of disengagement that was in the beginning, and we have pulled the students with lot of efforts from the stage of disengagement to the stage of engagement or engaging with us. So the factors that were in the part of disengagement were disrupting, avoiding, withdrawing. From there, the faculty has pulled the students into participating, investing, and driving. And again, whole of the continuum of engagement is going to come, and it is going to take care of communication, collaboration, creation, and critical thinking. So if you will see the engagement and disengagement theory given by Amy Berry is going to take us to achieve the four C's of collaboration. Not only that, it is also going to help us to venture through the various degrees of attention in the classroom that comes out to be the result as the efforts. Now, what are the various types of engagements in the classroom that we look forward to? The various types of engagements include cognitive engagement, it includes behavioral engagement, and it includes emotional engagement. Though I have written it left to right, I want everybody to read it from right to left. Right to left is emotional engagement first, then behavioral engagement. These two engagements will in itself take care of cognitive engagement of any student. So what we need right now is emotional engagement. How emotional engagement can be done? If you remember the slides in the beginning, sense of belongingness. Hi there, I am here. When we are asking who are you, what are your hobbies, how are you putting up with the so much crunched schedule of your MBA course, when you are talking to them, it gives them a sense of belonging that I belong to the FYMMS class of this particular college. Celebrating students, celebrating their diversity, telling them a student can be extremely good in statistics and flunk in managerial communication. A student can be extremely good in finance and not at all good in human resource. So celebrating the students, celebrating the diverse nature that we have also helps in emotional engagement. All students cannot be same. We see a 5 7 notorious students in the class also help in contributing to create a classroom environment. Otherwise it will seem that if we are teaching to robots and there is nobody who is doing the mischief, so the kid in the student cannot die because we have entered in the class. After emotional engagement, there is behavioral engagement. In behavioral engagement, what are the things that we do? It is active participation. We want our students to actively participate with us. Technology integration. Now, the slides that I have chosen to teach this topic, my daughter was seeing these slides and she said, Mama, it is pretty colorful. She's 12-year-old and she was asking, this is pretty colorful. Why have you chosen this slide for a professional session? I told her that I need attention and the PPT is about how to get attention. So what all colors and Canva has been used to create these PPT, but again, technology integration has been done. Now, classroom management. As a facilitator, we cannot forget that managing a classroom or telling them that we are on the other side and you need to behave becomes extremely important. Now, in order to get whatever we are trying to get an effective teaching, we cannot let go of discipline, because once the moment of discipline goes out of the class, it never comes back. So classroom management becomes extremely important. When I'm speaking, I am speaking. When you are given a chance to speak, you will be, I will be full ears. I will be all ears to whatever you are going to say. So these three things compositely are known as behavioral engagement. Then we have cognitive engagement. Once the behavioral engagement with the students is intact, there are thought provoking questions that are pre written before we get into the class. There are real world connections that we have already prepared. When I told you about preparing the lesson plan and sharing with the students, so these all homework, the faculty's homework has already been done, and personalized learning is something that is being delivered to the students in order to get them cognitive engagement. So it starts with emotional engagement, where there is a ice breaking session wherein we are trying to know with whom are we dealing with. Then we have behavioral engagement, wherein the students are encouraged to actively participate. We integrate technology with them, the discipline in classroom is maintained, and these two as inputs, it gives us a beautiful output, that is cognitive engagement of the students. It talks about thought provoking questions that we have already listed with real world connections and personalized learning. Now, Bloom's taxonomy, I promised you that we are going to talk about it. So, Helpful Professor is a place wherein I have taken this picture from. So, all picture credit to that. Now, Bloom's taxonomy, it starts with remember level. Many of you might be knowing it. It is used highly these days in outcome based teaching pedagogy, wherein NAC, NB, and all the accreditation agencies are asking for it. So, we start with remember, we go to understand, application of concepts, analyzing how the concepts actually work, evaluating, and creating. Now, this creation is again the highest level of cognition. So, when we are preparing our lesson plan, the first unit is mostly, if we teach business stats, it is about remembering the concepts of arithmetic mean, median, mode. So, what is it? It is remembering the concepts. Then, understanding. In the second unit, there might be that you have to use various models, the linear model, in order to explain the ABC analysis. So, understanding is there. Then, we prepare an Excel sheet wherein we write down the numbers and ask the students to apply the concepts of arithmetic mean and the linear model in this particular area. We can ask them to analyze it by preparing some of the graphs. To students who have submitted the project, their analysis can be compared. It is basically known as evaluating about which idea is finer than the other idea, and then they both sit together and they create their, or they invent or develop their own theories. So, Bloom's taxonomy, when we talk about it, we need to understand that for various courses, we need to see that if we are teaching subject number one, now in subject number one, if we are creating the course outcome for that particular subject, now whether we need to keep it to remembered level, can we push ourselves to go to understand level? Can we ask the students to apply by teaching a case study or anything? Can this particular model in international business be analyzed? Can we evaluate two models and see which models works best for this case scenario? Can the students create something of their own, whether it is possible for them to create or it is not possible for them to create in that particular subject? This is the thought process that we need the faculty to go through so that they can engage the students till the cognitive level. So, engaged learning talks about using active learning techniques. Now, active learning techniques, what does it mean? It means there is a plethora of pedagogical tools that are available. So, which pedagogical tool are you using for your classroom? Second is using Bloom's taxonomy. Whether our course has, for example, again I'll talk about entrepreneurship management. If I am teaching entrepreneurship management or managerial communication, now while preparing the lesson plan for managerial communication, what I thought was that there is nothing that the students can create in managerial communication. What they are supposed to know, they are supposed to know the communication models. What else they are supposed to know? They are supposed to know what are email etiquettes, and they are supposed to know how to write a report. So contents of report writing is one of them. How to write a letter, how to create a purchase requisition form. But again, is there something extra that the students can do? What the homework I gave to the student was create their own video resumes, and I told them that I'll be judging you on four parts. For example, the lights, the place that you have chosen, the fluent you are in your video resume, the kind of technology that you have used in video resume, and taking feedback from any of your mentors, and including that feedback in including the changes and sending the before and after video. So creation was done in a subject like managerial communication because it was planned well in advance. Again, collaborative learning can be used, allowing think time to the students so they can think that this is something that we have absorbed. Taking action, what action you have to take, might be some of the students have learned and some haven't learned, so this is something that they need to take care of. So I'm just in the phase of wrapping up the presentation. Let us talk about student engagement and shift in thinking. What is shift in thinking? Let's focus on teaching the content. It is not about how much we know. We are on the other side of the table because we have cleared the interview and we know our subject well. So it is not about teaching the content. What the students will be doing to learn and to understand the concepts. What are the efforts that the students are taking in order to learn and understand the content? If we are making all efforts, the students are not going to get 100% out of it. If students are making efforts, they are definitely going to learn on it. So, this is something that we need to take care of. Now, this is a self assessment activity that I want everybody to do before you go to the classroom. This is something that I religiously follow. What percentage of time was teachers' direct delivery? When I was speaking and you were listening, what percentage of the time was that? Second, what percentage of the time the students actively involved in their own learning? How much time have we given the students, that is the think time, where they have created their own timing and scenario to learn for 5 minutes to 7 minutes to recapitulate whatever the faculty told? How much time are we giving to the students? Third is, what percentage of times the students are working collaboratively? What is the timing wherein the students are working collaboratively, because they learn together more, then they learn from one person speaking the content. Now, on a scale of 1 to 5, how concerned were you to cover the content? Now, we all are same, and we know that when we go to the class we have this particular agenda in mind. I have to cover 1 unit or 1.5 units so that my syllabus gets completed. But again, that is one of the concerns that we all know. But again, how making small changes will not do any harm. It will only help us to connect with our students better, and the students will be as happy as being shown in the picture here. Now, take action. A working definition for student engagement encompasses one sense of being connected. So, whatever I told you in the last slide, that is required to take action. Think, pair, share, make students in a pair, ask them to come in a pair, and but give them a problem to solve. So, when they will sit together, when they will try to solve it by their selves, when two people are going to discuss, they are going to learn better as compared to when the teacher is solving on the board. So, highly effective teachers prioritize units and lesson plan timing. Purposeful questioning is important, and we need to pause and reflect before we get into the other class. So, here I would like to conclude, teaching is not what teacher is teaching in the classroom. Teaching is what students are doing to learn and upgrade themselves. More the students do, more they learn. Let us divide our time into four quadrants. This is the takeaway that I want you to take it with you. What teacher is teaching directly, what students are going to learn, what is the role of collaboration during learning, list and disseminate students' takeaway in the very beginning. So that's it. Now I think that we are open for questions.